What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for checking out the video and welcome to Keeping It Real Fishing. So I'm heading my way across this lake. It takes me a little while to get there with my, my Minn Kota 45. It's April 14th and right now I'm in the middle of the lake, but we have topwater temps of 47 degrees. I'm back at the lake where I cracked into the fish I was really looking for, and I entitled that video last year called The One, and it's what I've been searching for the past number of years ever since getting into big baits. I was really looking for a really above average northeast fish. For me that was 8 pounds and I came really close. I came in at 7.15, but it scratched the itch for me. I'm still elated from that catch. But I'm back here and it's a similar time of year. I got that in the beginning of May and now we're in the middle of April. And I've cracked great fish at this lake at this time of the year as well. All right guys, so I have an idea for today. My plan is to upload this video regardless of the outcome. Now that's significant for me because this is going back about five or 6 years now. I started to get into big baits, and the more I got into it, the bigger my baits started to get and the less productive my days were. So I tended to only really upload a video if I happen to have a good day and catch a lot of even moderate sized fish, or really what I was always trying to wait for was some really good catches, you know, to make a video for. But I thought part of really keeping it true to keeping it real fishing is to show what it is to be in this style of fishing, and not just to edit it down and to dilute it to those few good days and good moments you have, but to show you just like any random day, which is the vast majority of the time very slow days. It's going out for whatever I could do, you know, 3, 4, 5 hours, 6 hours, and you know, making educated decisions, not just chucking randomly, doing smart things. But ultimately when you're chucking not moderate sized big baits, but really big baits, your outcomes can be very small. You don't get a lot of feedback, you don't get a lot of strikes. And so I thought it would be kind of just, you know, very sobering and kind of educational, just to show that. And for all those guys out there that might be doing this and you just see the final eureka moment of so many people, myself included up until this point, I thought, you know, it seems kind of boring, but it's very kind of pragmatic to show what a normal daily occurrence looks like on the water, really trying to go after some giants here in the Northeast. But this is going to apply anywhere in the country. I'm on forums and I speak to so many guys, even in California, who've been fishing for years, and their best is still a 6-pound bass. You know, it's not really isolated to one part of the country. This information is ubiquitous no matter where you are, and you're just trying to target really, really big largemouth bass. Anyway, what was I saying, guys? Oh, these little things, these things called midges. Fly fishermen probably know what they are. Let me show you. These things. Like, they're everywhere. This is light, actually. Like at the ramp, there was, I mean, they're just innumerable. You can see they're all in the water. Yeah, so anyway, we're dealing with these little guys today. Every year, you know, there's like a brood or whatever, like when they do their thing, they come out. And I don't mind, you know, they're everywhere. They're kind of a nuisance, but they don't bite, they don't sting or whatever, but they will layer you. I mean, you could look down and literally, quite literally, have a couple hundred on you. They blanket your clothes, depending on what, you know, how many come out in that given year. So anyway, they're kind of like a mark for spring. I don't mind seeing them. So anyway, yeah, midges. Those of you guys who know, you know. All right, let's get to it. All right, guys, so just about to get started. Oh, I'm beyond stoked, man. I live for this time of year and days like this. People don't get it, and maybe I shouldn't say it to you because then you'll be someone else out here. But it's like most people just don't start till like the middle of May or late May. Like they think fishing, they think summer, and I think chilly, right? I like that early spring where it's still like a little cold, and that's exactly what we have today. So I mean, my best days, I'm always like, oh, the place is going to be flooded, and I show up, there's nobody here. Like, here's the cove that I want to fish. It's the cove that I come back to. It's probably the best place in the lake this time of year. Guess how many people are, look at that midge, look at that midge right there, look at the tip of my finger. These guys are going to be on there all day. Let's get them off with the Daiwa Ardito. Get off there, midge. Anyway, it's like I got the place to myself. It's just sick. Sick, sick, sick. Let's start with this instead, guys. I was going to start out with that javelin gill. Let's start out with the Kitech, that Easy Shiner. That's the 7.8. Sexy shad. Just pops in the water. It's just a nice bright color. Alright, let's see here. What do we got? Make sure we're all set. Alright, you're good. Okay, you're good. Right next to that big tree. That's one of the more prominent trees that we could see around here. Ones that we could see. A lot of these trees are chopped, but we know that was a big one. It's too loud. All that stuff is going through the water. So 49 degrees is the top water temp. A little chilly, but is what it is. I've had some of the vast majority of my good fish have come in sub 50 degree water. There's another midge on the lens there. Damn. Got my net at the ready. So based on the water temp, guys, things that I'm pitching like a jig, I'm really going to treat like a jig. And meaning like that, I'm not going to spend too much of my time crawling them back. I want it to just be, I'm going to appeal to those fish that are just, you know, water's cold, sub 50. And just kind of, you know, lots of casts. Just hoping to drop it on their head or near them and get them to go. And then, you know, maybe a couple hops, work it a little bit back, but not going to swim my jig presentations back, which I definitely do in the warmer water. My really large stuff though, like my big Huddleston, my real prey, just because of the sheer size, those I am still going to look for to try to attract followers and hopefully get fish to leave where they are. The psychology there, the thought process is it's such a big meal. And particularly like the slower, more methodical wag of those tails versus kind of the fast one of this. I feel like they see this, if it's right in front of them, that little bit of a fast wiggle might get them to pounce. But then if it's swimming away, it already looks like something that's ready to skedaddle because that tail goes a little bit faster. But my Huddlestons, the real preys, and you know, stuff like that, I'm gonna go. Those I will do, you know, full retrieves, super slow, just because, you know, even a lazy fish can probably think in his head, oh, I can catch up to that, because look at that thing, it's just barely swimming. So that's what we do, guys, right? We infuse the way we think fish think, and we let it dictate our actions. But also, what else are you gonna do, right? We can't exactly go down there and ask them, hey, what are you guys doing today? How do you want to eat? We got to go with something, base it on something. So today I'm just going with the water temp kind of being on that verge, the way I see it. I know for some of you guys out west, 49 degrees, you're probably like, oh, that's frigid, but I've had some of my best days, my biggest fish in that. I really like it. Anything from like 45 up. Color-wise, we have a cloudy day. It's going to remain cloudy. We're supposed to get some on and off rain later on, which I kind of look forward to as well. But, so we're going to keep that in mind also with the colors. I'm going to keep my colors pretty natural today, because this is a clear water place. But at the beginning of the year, the water's not super clear. You know, the aquatic vegetation hasn't grown in yet. Once that vegetation's there, it really kind of filters and processes. You know, those are kind of like the lungs of any lake or pond. So because they haven't really come in yet, even though it's a clear water place, it's not as clear as it's going to be. There's a little bit of a stain to it. So if I have to choose, I'm going to choose between natural color lures and stuff with a little bit of punch, like this guy right here. That's gonna annoy me today. So just pitching the easy shiner here, the 7.8. I gotta give myself a good amount of slack. This might look a little funny how tall I'm keeping my rod, but I'm letting this swim slowly. I got it on a 1/16 ounce beast hook, which is the lightest one that owner makes. It's a 6/0, which I find to actually be perfectly adequate on this. I know a lot of people would run the 8s, but I like these little 6s. What I'm looking for is what's the least amount of weight that I can get to still have this thing have full swimming action, but as slow as possible. And that happens to be the 6/0 1/16. Now, of course, you could take any hook and put on your own weights. You know, you could use lead tape, you could wrap lead wire around it, you could crimp on little egg weights that have the slit on them. You could make your own. But this one's all pre-done, and I find it works well and just nicely integrated. So anyway, I have to keep I got that semi-slack to look for the strike, but I have to keep opening it up again to give it more line to get down into that, oh, what's over there? Probably 22 feet of water. And that's it. We're just using this guy as a jig, even though he's a swimmer. We're just going to use him as a jig today. This little creeper. I had these little creeper 8-inch models for a while. I like some things about them a lot, other things not so much, but I'm still looking for my first fish on it. Like, I have no doubt it's going to get bit, you know. It's a great looking lure. Moves pretty good. Inspires a lot of confidence. Really soft with those fins. We're going to see if today we can't get it. Normally I would lean really heavily on the 8-inch Hud, my weedless Hud. But that's the cool thing about this, is it's an 8-inch bait that's weedless, you know, with that big beast hook on there. So we're going to try this today too. There's this timber everywhere, as you can see. We're going to try to focus our efforts on the best trees and places where it's kind of open and then we get little bits of tree lines. But the reality is the water level's super high here, which is good. Highest it's been ever since I've been coming here. I mean, this place is like kind of flooded out. So a lot of what I used to use to navigate, a lot of the tops of the trees, like a lot of these trees were cut halfway, they're actually submerged now. Which I have to really keep in mind as I go around, because I have a feeling I'm going to tag a lot of stuff here in the canoe. Stuff that's just, you know, 6 inches below the surface. Hey, what guys, they got some really good rock jetties, submerged rock jetties. Like, there's like 4 or 5 of them equidistant spaced along the other side. Wait, I don't think they have them on this side. I've never seen them. So I want to hit those up, because those are like, with the water level so high now, I want to hit those, because those are really viable now. In the past, like half the jetty would be submerged, half of it would be visible. But now that whole rock structure is going to be, you know, out there and exposed, or submerged rather. So that seems like it would be probably pretty appealing to some bass. Let's head over there. Anybody ever try this? I've never seen this before. I just saw it. Crazy green can. What does it say? Ultra Paradise. Anyway, try to get away from these energy drinks. I really do. I don't know, as I get older, man, they hit me differently. The lows are getting a lot lower. Wake you up, but I just feel like crap afterwards. But anyway, I need one today, so. Ultra Paradise. It is what it is. It's an energy drink. Alright, so here's another thing I'm really looking forward to throwing today. My big tubes. I've thrown these in years past. Decided to really put in a lot more work with them this year, because tubes, for me, and I think for most of us, almost like a Senko, Dan, they just get bit. If you can't get bit on anything else, if you're trying to get them on something else, or you think they should be on something else, almost like a Senko, you put on a tube, man, you're gonna get bit. It just is what it is. But these are big tubes, right? So these are 7-inch tubes from Gets It, right? That's a big old tube, man. Let's see, big Big tube. This one here is kind of like an iridescent whitish blue, and then they just throw a thing of like kind of green pumpkin paint on the back. That paint comes off though, lickety split, man. Like the first half a day, that paint's almost all gone, so I don't like that. Otherwise, it starts off as a really cool color. It looks like there's a top and a bottom to it, like, you know, like most fish, but it just wears off super quick. Anyway, still appealing, even if it doesn't have that. I'm just gonna text pose that hook. There you go. Let's see, all right? Let's see, guys, what looks good? What looks good? A lot of trees. It's gonna be a numbers game today, guys, when you have so much ember. You know, of course, I'm looking for the biggest trees of the bunch, and I'm looking for places where there's gaps and there's like a tree line. Stuff that any of us would look for. But at the end of the day, it's really gonna be like a numbers game. Just gonna be making a lot of pitches to a lot of trees. Because I've had so many days where it's like, I think everybody beats up the trees that look like the big trees and all this stuff. Like, we all visually see that. But so many times I've come back here, like my only bite or my best bite, whatever, just comes on just a random cast to like a random little tree. Because one, you don't know if there's maybe like a giant stump at the bottom. But two, I think like those prime trees just really just get beat up because everybody sees them, everybody pitches to them. No, I don't know. Is anybody shallow? I know they're going to be back here once it gets up into the mid-50s. Those couple degrees really make a difference. And we're at 50 flat. Guys, we got a lot of mist, we got a lot of clouds, not so much sun. Let's put on a bright color there. The Imigatsu Magnum Gilsonic, kind of like that half raw, half brown back. See what she can do. Looking for a big bite on this thing still. Alright, let's throw the big real prey. Excited to throw this. This really pops in the water. There's no doubt they see this thing. It's got a real shimmery, kind of pale complexion there. Which way should we look at it? Probably this way. Yeah, they're not going to miss it. The question is, has anybody got the cojones to come up and bite it? This one's a slow sink, so I got to give it a minute here. It's nice though when I do, if I hit these rocks, I can come over them nice and slow. I don't like, you know, fall in between real fast into all the cracks. Let this thing get down there. Suppose I don't need this on. Water temp, almost 51 degrees top water. Fish on. Fish on. Fish on. Hit the rock on the real prey. Ooh, it's a good one, boys. Stay down. Ah, there we go. Oh, first cast on the real prey. Bringing it along this rock wall here, guys. Felt it hit a rock, and I'm thinking I only got it maybe down 5-6 feet, but it's the fact that not only can they pin it down against the rock, but it's also kind of being pinned against the wall in a horizontal plane as well. He made short work of that. And I've been on this spot here throwing I've been on this spot for a half hour throwing lipless cranks, wobble heads, and other swim baits. But the first shot with the big lure, nailed it. Let me show you what we got. Here we go. One on the reel prey. It's a nice looking fish right there. Not too fat. Got a pretty good sized head on her. Nice. Snag a couple picks right quick, right? That's what we fish for in the spring. Big East Coast fish on the big swim bait. All right, guys, just switch cameras, go into a little bit better one. Just wanted to show you this nice fish here. About to get a weight on her. That's on the 7 3/4 inch real prey trout. I'm doing a little long arming. Let's bring her in closer. Solid fish. So oftentimes I see people weighing their fish, particularly with like a big swim bait in there, and they're adding 3, 4, 5 ounces. Let's get this out. Love that color when I got it too. It's kind of like a light flash trout. Beautiful. I always tend to overestimate my first fish of the year. I think it's bigger than it really is, so I'm gonna go a little low on this. I'm gonna say just like 5'3". Five one and 3/8. Not too often, I guess, though. 5'1". Just been a while. It's been since last year since I caught a real giant. Just gonna get a weight on her real quick, and we'll let her go. Or I'm sorry, not a weight, a measurement. Alright guys, so that was awesome. I'm going to try to talk quick because this mist here is just totally covering up the lenses. You know, that's exactly what it's all about. It's my first big fish of the year. I've only got a handful of fish so far. First quality fish. I definitely felt it like it was bigger. In my mind I was like, it's 6, but I know how I tend to, once I'm away for the winter, the first couple big fish of the year always seem bigger. But that's what it's all about, man. Cool water temps and just slow rolling the big swim bait, you know, trout or otherwise. And it's just so interesting because I'll just reiterate the importance there. I was kind of not anchored, but I've just been pushed ashore. And I was in this spot, I'd say at least 20 minutes to a half hour, and I was covering all these angles. Because this is a known good place, this rock wall that meets some timber there, and there's a sand wedge. There's a lot going on here. So I was like, I'm going to spend some time, but I showed him the rattle trap. I showed him a shad swim bait, but smaller. I showed him a lot of different things, but that was by far the biggest thing that had the slowest action. Everything else was flashy or loud or erratic or moving its tail quick. I should know, because that's where my biggest fish have typically come in the years past is, you know, big lures that have that slow lumbering action. And first cast with the reel prey against this wall, that was really awesome. I mean, that's exactly why you get these things and what you hope for. Alright guys, sitting here checking texts, but had to because I just cast a slow sink into like 30 some odd feet of water, so should be down there by now. Now I'm not hugging the rock wall. I think I've exhausted this. I'm about to move, but I fed, I see some piece of timber that's sticking up out of there. I don't remember that, but it's got to be part of something larger. So let me heave one out there, let it get to bottom and crawl it back. Maybe that's where that 9-pounder lives, right? Not the areas where people cast all day, every day. Not the obvious, otherwise they'd be catching that kind of caliber fish. Those deep haunts. The big lures. Just had a bite. Just had another bite. Oh, just had another bite. And there it is, that's why. That's why we're having multiple bites. Oh no! I wasn't trying to do that. Get out of here. It'll make me lose my precious lure here. Didn't get the line, did you? I'm like coming up over rocks. I'm like, yeah, I know I'm going to tag some rocks, but that ain't a rock, man. That was abrupt. And the second one kind of had me guessing, but I was like, no, man, that is not a rock. Let's do the same thing. This is a good area, man. Not that we're looking for pickerel, but just a place where there's a lot of life going on. You know what it is, because a lot of the bait fish are going to be moving into these warm areas. So we always see that the rock walls warm up first. They do. I see it. Well, my sonar's off now, but coming over here, it wasn't by much. It was only by like a degree, but that's a degree. That's a degree that's colder someplace else. So little bait fish are going to do their thing over here, and consequently, of course, larger fish are going to come. It's not to say that, of course, every fish in the lake is hugging a rock wall. You know, you're going to be able to make a living and get bites doing other stuff. Like I do want to hit a lot of this timber too, just pitching jigs to that, or some giant tubes, or even pitching like some of my big swim baits. But let's go with what's kind of proven first, and that's going to be, you know, early spring is the fish are going to follow the warmth. Let's bring another one through here. Ah! I don't know, guys. Hard to say with the pickerel. We'll know in a second. You rip it out of their mouths, they're gonna, you know how they do. They'll just follow it. They'll be 2-3 feet behind. If I get tagged again here. Well, I got nobody following it. There we go. We're catching a decent fish, like a 4-something, right on this rock wall a couple years ago on my 8-inch weedless Hud. And it's just the prime time because the water levels are up. So all this shrub that's along there, that usually was not in the water. So you have the same rock wall, you have the same weed line, everything else, but now you even have shrubbery that if they want, they could push up into that. This is great stuff, man. Well, this has been the deal so far today, so let's not mess around with it too much. I'm making a choice here. It's like I can either hit this spot or that rock wall I was telling you about just a minute ago. Time is of the essence. You know, who knows, right? It's not like I can predict the future, but I just had a hard time passing this up. This area usually gets pummeled in the spring. A couple weeks from now, people are going to be beating this up with like 1,000 jerkbaits looking for smallies, but it's just a nice area again where a couple things are happening. I'm just coming off of like being in 80 feet. Now, granted, they're not using it, but you know, before 80 was 40 and 30, so you got a fast drop off. You got rocks there. It gets shallow in that cove, and then over here you got sand, and in a couple weeks that's all going to be a lot of weeds. So the rocks, the weeds, the sand, the deep, all in this one little area. So I'm choosing to hug these rocks. Again, maybe they'll be a little warmer. This isn't anything pronounced like that whole rock wall. Maybe they'll be a tick warmer. Gotta be careful here. I thought I just had a little something. A tick warmer because of the sun. You know, it's kind of cloudy today, but still, it's warmer than at night. Okay, you probably won't be able to see from the hat cam. I felt these ticks, but I knew that I was above the rocks. And they were pretty fast, and I thought it was, okay, you know, I just got more pickerel, you know, tapping me. Sure enough, that was not a big bass, maybe like a 3.5, maybe a 4, but just lumbering, and not far back though. I mean, he was nose on it, like an inch away, all the way up, and then he just turned off. So I think it's almost like he just like tasted it twice on the way in. Right now, I just went over that branch. That caused a lot of commotion, but I don't mind that. I just threw some stuff in the water. My lure splashed around a little bit as I was pulling it. I like that, you know, more so than just the initial splash into the water. Now I've got some commotion, you know. Why would that be so different than a trout that is hitting the surface a few times trying to get something, or something that's injured? I don't mind that. That's a nice way to enter the water. Let her get down there a little bit longer. This is I have to remind myself how slow this thing sinks. Looks like that's it. I don't see the line down anymore. So first cast, we had a follower, largemouth, and that's a good sign. Maybe I could follow up with something like a little smaller, like a Hud 68. I don't have any small. Actually, I do have some real price shiners, but I want to keep it in the trout profile. Oh, I just got tagged, guys. Just got tagged. That's 2 for 2. That's 2 casts. One was a follower nipping at it. That one was a straight up tag. I think I chose the right place to make a stop. Now, here's my concern. How many times can I hit them from the same casting angle before they start to say the sun doesn't smell right here? And my other thing, I don't mind waiting for a second here. I'm gonna let this cool down just for a second while I think, and I share with you. My other thing that I'm debating right now, do I, another rod, I'll keep this on, but I tie on like a Hud 68 rainbow, and then they'll stop messing around with it and just swallow it because it's considerably smaller? Or am I getting the attention that I'm getting because this is so big, and this is really like light in the water. It looks like so whitish. So visually it's got impact. These could be fish that it's drawing from away, whereas the Hud 68's it's modest, you know, it's a good size lure, but it's not big. I mean, I could always come back to this, right? I mean, you're not married to these decisions. You just, the only thing that will happen is if you don't try it, you'll always wonder. So let's try that. Got my Hud 68s right here, right on top actually. I had them out when I was pulling up. All right, guys, I'm gonna tie them on. We're gonna try this out. Same color pattern, same profile. All right, so here's your chance to make a wager, guys. Just tied on the HUD 68. We're coming off of 2 casts and 2 strikes on the reel prey. What do you say, right, before I make this cast? Success or not? Doesn't have to be the first cast, just whatever, next couple casts here. Is that change gonna work? Let's find out. Same place. So we are picking back up on that same casting angle. Ooh, and I gotta watch this one fall though, because the HUD, put on the rate of fall 12. He swims down nice. A lot of times I'll tag it on the fall. You know what, guys, this is a poor comparison because I got an ROF 12 there versus this guy, which is, I don't even know what he is. He's not even an ROF 5. So the manner in which I'm fishing him is so different. That one's just sinking, you know, as it should. This one here barely goes down. Yeah, I would need to tie on the lighter HUD for this to be a fair comparison. All right, let's go back to the reel prey. That's about it, and then I got to skedaddle. So we got 2 tags. Let's see, maybe whoever's doing it, or if it's multiple fish, let's hope they stop playing around and slam this thing. Last chance at the meal, guys. You only get free trout so often. Slow moving, easy meal. All right, everybody, that's it. I'm heading in. I got to rush. Took a few more casts than I should have, and like I said, unfortunately I have to get off this place before dark. The ramp closes, so it is what it is. But anyway, I just wanted to thank you for hanging out and watching, and you know, today worked out well. Just 1 fish in the boat, but it was kind of the fish we're looking for. My benchmark of a fish, and the reason that I throw the big stuff is 5 pounds. That's my cutoff. And so, you know, one just a tick over 5 is not a huge fish, but still a respectable fish anywhere in the country, and particularly here in the Northeast. And it came kind of on one of the ways that I thought it might come today, is slow rolling those big trout baits. So so that's it, guys. You see, I mean, in the course of these days, there's just hundreds and hundreds, if not, you know, maybe 1,000 casts. On a good day, you get that bite. It's not always exciting, but I figured I would just let the cameras roll today and just, you know, show you the play-by-play, you know, of how it plays out for me anyway. So that's it, guys. Again, thanks for watching, and let me know. You know, I know these videos are mostly just talk, but I hope you can take something away from at least my approach. You know, it's certainly not the end-all be-all. It's just what I found is working in the limited time that I've been throwing big baits. But if anybody can apply any of these things and have more success from it, you know, that's a win. So you let me know. Let me know if you like these videos. This one we ended up catching a fish, but the idea was to post it regardless. And just have that mental walkthrough. And if you like them, let me know. You know, I could post a video every single time. It's just that most of the time it's not going to be a lot to show. You guys let me know, and that's it. I will either see you next time, or for those of you guys in the area, see a lot of you guys on the water. Take it easy.